Hey everybody, Tom Barnes, Stories from the 78. You know, it's not every day that you can rack up 750,000 followers on TikTok or any other social media platform for that matter. That's a hard thing to do. What's harder to do is be a self-taught cellist who has gone on to amass 750,000 subscribers. But that is exactly what my friend Drew Wiegman has done. He's a Grayslake kid. He's got a show. I should say he's got two shows happening in Grayslake, his hometown, this weekend of March 29th and March 30th. And I welcome him now to the Stories from the 78. Drew, man, how are you?
Doing wonderful today. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. It's nice to talk to you. You've done some things in the
Yes.
last few years where you've amassed a pretty substantial social media following. You have a big concert this weekend in your hometown, Grayslake. Things are looking good for you.
Yeah, yes, sir. It's something I never really would have ever thought would and my life end up going this direction. And it's something that I'm embracing now, in a different way where I'm really, really excited to be able to kind of share my art in a way where I'm not nervous. I'm just really excited to be able to play for the people who show up.
Right on. And the concerts that we're talking about are happening on Saturday and Sunday, 29th and 30th, up in Grayslake. And that's where people can come out and finally see you in person. You said you don't do a
Yes.
lot of live events, so this is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
You're a self-taught musician
Yes.
and you play by ear, right? Like, how does one go from that, like not even like, did you just want to learn how to play and you just picked it up one day, or is this something that's kind of always been your thing? It just now is starting to take off for you.
Yeah, so I made it through Suzuki book number two. I played at Kenosha Christian Life in Kenosha,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a lesson a week. I haven't had a lesson in 8 years or 12 years maybe. And what I ended up that was my last cello lesson was in eighth grade. I was in the back of the orchestra. I could only play by ear, so I'd wait till the person in front of me was able to play it so that I could hear what they were playing. Because for me to look at notes, turn that into sound, it didn't make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
My brain just didn't really work in that way. But when I heard it, I could hear it and try to match the pitch.
Okay.
And so I ended up playing a little in high school. My teacher was a violinist, so I didn't have a cello lesson. I ended up quitting the cello in high school. Played college baseball at the University of Louisville. I got a scholarship for baseball early on, which that was a huge part of it. It takes over. I don't know if do you have a background in sports?
I played a little college baseball too. Yeah,
Did you really?
it
Are you
become
serious?
yeah, it becomes like a job for you
Yes.
when once you
Okay,
get
so
to
you
college.
get it, man. Wow,
Uh-huh.
that's amazing.
100%.
Okay, yeah. Where did you play?
A JUCO college, Moraine
Okay.
Valley.
See, I have so much freaking respect for JUCOs. And so at Louisville, the JUCO dudes go in and they'll take any a dude's spot immediately who's been there for 3 years. And JUCOs, anyone who goes to JUCO loves the game.
Yeah.
For me, probably however you thought about a dude that gets committed at 15 years old, every suspicion you would have, that's cool, but that's so freaking early. You're right about every thought you probably had about it. Um, it's a gift and a curse, and it's one of those where you kind of feel like the world's picking your life for you
Uh-huh.
because you have to logically say, I'm like, Louisville gave us probably 48 hours to say yes. You have no idea if you have any other offers, and you're so early on. We just said yes, and that I didn't go to college thinking about what I'm going to go for a degree. It was at that point I'm going for baseball, whatever they have there, I'll do.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
get that. I
yeah,
mean, it's baseball. It's not like you're going to, work at a steel mill, right? So, like,
exactly,
although
exactly.
it does become a job in college, especially when you get to the realization where you're like, well, probably not going to play
Yeah.
after
Oh
college,
yeah.
or if I am, it's going to be like independent ball, and I don't know if I want to do. I mean, you put your body through a lot, and yeah.
It's so cool that you played as well because you're hitting the nail on the head when you said it becomes a job. And when you said, especially when you're going to play, when you're at a place like Louisville, it wasn't after Louisville for me. My brother was way more active playing. For me, I was a shortstop.
Hmm.
And you know what with the shortstop, they're like, go to right field, go to left field.
Hmm.
They'll move you all around. And for me, it was one of those where I just saw I could see myself a year from now. And then I asked myself, if everything works in my favor, do I like the type of life that this will give me? And I knew I didn't. And it got to a point where I didn't know what I wanted to do. I
Mhm.
just knew I couldn't do it anymore. The 4 a.m. workouts, and I also knew that I was taking a spot from who I used to be. Personally, someone who would love an opportunity to play at Louisville,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
was taking up a roster spot, and so for me, it was a lot of learning myself throughout that time frame. You know, so but that's so amazing because you get it. It is a job,
Yeah.
and to walk away too. That's a different mental. I don't know how it for you. What was that experience? I'm curious just to see it for me walking away from it. I walked away feeling lighter, kind of like I know PTSD from a text from a coach. You didn't do this. You didn't. For me, I was like, wait, I don't have any texts. I don't have any. There's nobody that needs me right now. And for me, that was. I don't know if I'm alone in that though.
I mean, my heart knew that I should stop, but my
Mm.
ego didn't want to because my
Yeah.
ego, I'm gonna play baseball. I'm playing baseball in college. This is what I wanted to do. People
Yeah.
said I couldn't, and I'm doing it, and I'm starting, and I really like it, and I can go and do this thing. But there's always politics too, and
Oh, it's bad. Yeah.
yeah, the politics were just ridiculous. Because I wasn't a scholarship of any kind,
Yeah.
they can do whatever they want to you as
Yeah.
far as like when you play, how you play. And I just wasn't interested in that anymore because I was
No.
like, this coach is not like if he was great, honestly, he wouldn't be like he wouldn't be
Oh, that's
coaching
such a good point. Yeah.
at this
Yeah.
school. So like, like no disrespect to
No,
anybody that's
yeah,
coached, but the
objectives.
man was in his like 60s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So his,
Yeah.
like, and again, I was a kid, so I just was like, this feels like BS. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like
100%.
the game I love, and I don't want to hate the game. I love the game too much to hate it. To continue to do this to myself and be mad at it all the time, I just didn't want it anymore. So I walked away. It was hard
It's
though.
so cool. I already feel that brotherhood here because it's one thing. There's a lot of dudes that will go in it, and I'm impressed that they're still on the grind. And I think there's something to be said about in this day and age the way it works with Perfect Game PBR. They have these showcases and everything where I just saw yesterday it turned into the most viewed social media accounts for like my PBR profile,
Hmm.
and so now it turns into an identity thing, and so it is an I went straight to Uber Eats, and then I went straight to golf because I didn't know how to not be an athlete, and I was like, well, now I have to go to the PGA. That was a short learning. It was a learning experience for sure.
Yeah, I was, and I'm better for it. I'm happy.
Yeah,
I mean, I love the game still, and I played softball in Chicago for
really.
20 years, and that was more fun than playing baseball in all the years in college by far. Just
You
because
know what?
I
Wow.
played to love it, and I played with people that loved it, and because I played in college, I was pretty good at softball,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I was
They
a
wanted you
catcher,
on
and
that team, and you were appreciated.
yeah.
It's nice to be
Yeah,
appreciated.
and we won, and it was fun, and I lived my best life in my 20s in Chicago. So I have no regrets looking back now. I had more fun
I love
then.
hearing that. Seriously, it gives me strength because, and that's the thing, because that right there is the correlation with music. I can tell you, Tom, classical music can be
Mhm.
more toxic than a Division 1 Louisville baseball locker room,
How so?
and it's because in sports everything's objective.
Hmm.
In I didn't know anything about music, and so I just start playing the cello and I just doing what I do for fun because I love it. Then I start finding out, oh, there's a way you have to hold a bow. Oh, there's a way you have to play the song. It's not what you're doing. You could be making beautiful sounds, but it's the way it looks to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard when you're the one creating the sound to not personalize it. And so that was what I learned. I'm like, wow, at Louisville, for it's you against yourself with baseball. And then if sometimes it's like the umpire's fault.
Sure.
But yeah, yeah. But it's one of those in music. It's like this is the best I can do, but it's the type of critique. It's not, oh well, you throw 80 across the infield, you need to get up to 85, and it's like I gotta get stronger. It's something where it's like, well, I liked it. someone else didn't. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like there's no basis of what's right in art. Except when you
Right.
create music and you throw it into a little corner, you can start judging people based off whatever it is someone says is right.
Right, and you don't write your music. I mean, you play it by
All
ear.
by ear.
So that was one of my questions. You're self-taught. You play by ear, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Eddie Van Halen also couldn't read music or didn't want to read, whatever the case may
Yeah,
be.
yeah.
He also played by ear. And Dave Grohl on the drums, he just learned by playing by ear. His
That's
mother took him.
inspiring to me.
Yeah, his mother took him to like a jazz club when he was a kid growing up, and this jazz drummer, yelled at him for not holding the sticks correctly and made him
Really? See,
drum.
I love hearing these stories. I don't know any of this stuff.
Oh yeah, there's like if you read his he's got a memoir out, and the whole book is about like like how he got to be Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters. And and like being in Nirvana was like a small little notch on the journey that his life story is. But it starts with his mother, who loves music in DC, bringing him to this jazz club like every week, and they loved it so much then that he wanted to learn how to play drums because he was playing drums on pillows in his house. So this drummer,
Wow,
who is a
that's incredible.
yeah, he's a well-respected jazz drummer, but in jazz, you got to play like you're taught. It's almost like classical music. You're
Yeah.
taught to play a certain way, and he was holding it wrong, and he soon realized, listen, this isn't for me. Like,
Yeah.
I love music, but the way that you're trying to teach me makes me hate it, and I don't want to do it that way.
Wow,
So
okay, because I felt a lot of isolation the past few years. Just
yeah.
because there's not a lot of people in the classical. See, with drums, okay, the cello is an instrument, but everyone, when they see the cello, I'll be playing Justin Bieber, and they're like, I love classical music. And so even marketing myself, I'm like, I'm not even playing a single classical song. This is James Bond we're talking about.
Right.
This is, The Dark Knight. But to market myself, it's interesting because you have to you go modern cello. What does that even mean? Oh, Bridgerton. It's like, no, it's because it's played with feel. And that's the thing. I think there's, there's family dynamics where there's always someone in the family that's musical. You'll hear them humming or singing.
Oh yeah.
And when you're around that, and it's that natural, organic vibe. And when you keep building on that, though, and you start rewarding that with, okay, I'm actually pretty good. It's the person who sings in the car that might think that they aren't that great. Post a video. You start to find the smallest little thing. That's what I did.
You mentioned like you started, you were finding music again, and you just started posting videos, and that is where all this started for you, where you're like, maybe I'm just to do this because I miss doing it. I want to find myself again in music, and that's kind of how this whole thing started rolling for you on TikTok.
Yeah. So for me, when I left Louisville, and it's funny because for me, I had really much a victim mentality about everything. For me, I lost when you leave, so when you're on the team, there's groups. There's the starters, then everybody else that's doing their thing, and that just naturally happens. But when you leave the team moves on. They do their own thing, and it's starting to for me, it was starting to rebuild, figure out who I was, what I was doing, and I had a relationship end. I'll take all blame. It is what it is. For me, it was one of those. I lost myself.
Sure.
I couldn't even be with myself. That's just straight up. So that being said, my brother said, Drew, why don't you just try posting a video on TikTok? Just play the cello by ear. And I just grabbed my cello out of a closet. It was just in the closet. And I would play it once every few months. And sure enough, I posted it, and I got 6 followers and like 8 likes. And I'm like, what? I'm not even a cellist, but I got 6 followers. And it's really cool for me to say this because now it reminds me of, the very, very beginning and that's what matters. The reason I picked it up in the first place, and I started finding this. One person said, this made my day better. And when I found that I made that impact, I'm like, that actually for me meant more than $1. And so I started, I was working Naturescape in Gurnee, Illinois. And then I ended up going down to Louisville and worked at a branch down there. And I was in college. And for me, my free time was playing the cello. And there's a community that I don't like to say I created because I really think it takes a bunch of people to create a community. And it kind of happened as just a result of showing up. And so you'll know this.
Half the battle, my friend, showing up.
It's what I took with sports mentally to music. I didn't judge myself on how I played. but I just took with baseball. Oh, there we go. Yeah, with baseball, it was just show up, ball goes through your legs. It's like there's the next play. It hurts.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to show an emotional reaction, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and then sure enough, I was like just showing up every day, not but never critiquing myself on how I'd play. I'd have people say straight to my face for a long time, "This is terrible. This I can't believe people actually are listening to this." And
As you were gaining followers, as things were going in
yes,
the positive direction for you. So those people that did that to you or said those things, was that online? Was that people you knew that were
online,
really?
and
So
yeah, no, they have no videos themselves
of course,
of
I was
themselves.
about to
Yeah.
say, of course, it's
Yes, you
online.
get it.
People can
You
be
get it,
just,
Tom.
yeah, people can be awful online,
Yeah.
especially when people are trying to do something that is out. Like, let's be honest, to do anything and post it on the internet,
Yep.
it's out of your comfort zone as a person,
Hundred
except
percent.
unless you're like a Kardashian or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
But like it takes a lot to do something that you love and then put it out there for the world to judge whether you like it or not. So I
Yeah.
imagine that was terrifying as it started to build and as because more people see it, more people comment, right?
Yeah.
So where did you have to navigate that? Where did you just like, I'm not going to read this stuff, or did you try to like, what did that do
Well, it
to you in
led
the
me to a
beginning there?
fall. It led me to a dark, dark place in my life because everybody can say like for me, anyone can say, "Oh yeah, it doesn't impact me. I don't care." To actually feel that you don't care though, for me, that was not the case. And
Sure.
so what ended up happening was I almost set myself up in a position. I learned with social media, the world will build you up to bring you down,
Hmm.
but if you lose yourself in the process. But I didn't even know myself because I just left baseball and my identity was now the cello. And whatever people liked, for me, I was like, oh, this is must be it. And I got to a point where I started losing my voice, and it was my fault for not speaking up. I look back at these things. The reason I'm in a better place now is because I take accountability of what I've learned. But what would happen is I focused so much whenever something didn't impact me. Well, for me, I would straight up just drink alcohol.
Okay.
And what I learned was I can do that. I'm really good at this. I'm really good at not saying how I feel, not thinking about how I feel,
Hmm.
because I knew that would lead me down a path of darkness. Like where it doesn't matter how I feel. That's kind of how I felt. And I found it was easier for me to be able to live a lie for myself, even doing it. It was easier for me to do that than it was for me to find a way to be okay. And I asked myself, how do I get to a point where comments don't affect me? Especially because I live stream, and for me, it's part of my job. And so the interesting thing is, it's like if I like it or not, it doesn't matter. And so I came into a personal crossroads where I ran out of notes. When you play by ear, it turned into I played by ear because I loved playing,
Hmm.
but I did not love playing anymore. But I knew I loved playing at some point. I knew that the reason I didn't love playing
Hmm.
was because of something personal. So,
Huh.
I'm
Face your
impulsive.
fears, huh?
Exactly, my friend. And yeah, well, for me, I just posted a video saying I'm an alcoholic. I'm 24 years old, and I became an alcoholic at 21 years old. And I said, but for me, I was mad internally at why I couldn't get to the point where I could play again freely. I'm saying this because and it's just because I wasn't living my truth for
Hmm.
me. And I didn't care. I had what some people will love. And I could say, save yourself the time. Everybody's more than enough. And it's that journey of realizing that no matter how many followers you have or don't have, how much money you have or don't have, I went on this like quest of, okay, well, I realized if I go live today, someone's seeing me for the first time.
Hmm. Hmm.
And what I realized is if I'm carrying some dark energy with me that I need to work through, I realized I could be anybody because I'll shut up and play. New people will just come because it's the cello. And so for me, I was going to have success if I was happy or not. And for me, free, like peaceful. It's hard. It was hard for me to do.
So did you use your music to get you through the dark, to get you back to the light?
Oh my gosh, Tom, phenomenal question. Because yes, and my albums I made 5 albums, Make It to the Next Sunrise. The titles were what I needed to hear. And then my last album was called The Unsaid. And for me, I didn't know why I was obsessed with this word, this concept, but I could barely make the songs. And then when I got done with The Unsaid, I realized I had to say my problem.
Oh, I see. Wow.
So, yeah. So I made a song called The Unsaid. And for me, it really was. I got to a point as an artist, I'm creating something inside, but I got to a point where I healed myself a little bit with the music. The music got me to the point to express, to be able to tell everybody, shameless, because I just need to get better at it is what it is.
Mhm.
And I realized after saying that, and I'm on day 89 or something, 90, I don't know, 80 something, I'm not drinking. I can tell you, I don't know how I do it, but I can tell you the things that have helped me is just positivity.
Yep. Sure.
Only talking positivity, only accepting it, and it's a very personal thing.
Yeah.
Which is why for me, I decided to start looking at my mental health like I was a doctor. I'm not this person who just drinks every night to try to. That's not who I am. My behaviors were that, and so yeah, it was. For me, it was the greatest thing that ever happened to me, and I know it's every day. I look back, every day I'm further from it. Right now, it's still new. There's days where I wake up, I'm like, man, I posted that. That's tough. Just because there's no going back.
Yeah,
But
like we were talking earlier, bare your soul to the internet. The internet's going to show you a mirror at some point, but you
yeah,
got to be okay.
100. Wow, yes.
Yeah, you got to be okay seeing that mirror, if you're going to do it. So good for you, 80-ish plus days
Yeah.
of being sober. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, as a person who plays by ear and never wrote music at one point, like when you do an album, when you play by ear and you have a melody in your head and you play it and you're like, oh, that was good. If you don't record it, are you like, oh crap, I don't know if I can remember to play that again because I was just playing.
Funny you say that. Yes, that happens. That
Yeah.
happens. Yep, 100%. And I feel the exact same way you'd predict.
So like,
sometimes I'm like, just press record, just in case something happens. But it's funny. I'll do that, nothing will happen, and then the times I don't press record. And what I realize is this: for me, I got to a point of acceptance where I now know what if I was able to play it that time I have it in me to do it again. Maybe something more I like, where it's going to be meant to be. For me, it's easier to go with that because I've had to so many times where it's like, oh, that was the song right there.
Yeah.
Damn it. Yes. 100%.
So with the concert you have coming up, you got 2 shows again here on the 29th and 30th up in Grace Lake. What are people in for the show? Do you play all your own stuff or do you play a little bit of, I guess, covers, and when you do play covers, that's all still by ear. So you'd have to memorize the song to play it as much as you have to memorize your own song to play it. And probably makes complete sense to you, where other people who have a different kind of mind who are like, well, I have to memorize or I have to read it off a page, like I imagine you get probably a lot of weird questions, but what's the show like for people to come see you?
And I appreciate those, this question too, because for me, because I guess part of my concert is being on social media for so long, it really created an interesting version of self-awareness. What I realized is I will say something and 10,000 people will hear it through their lens.
Mm-hmm.
So if someone's having a good day, oh yeah. If someone's having a terrible day, what? And so what I realized is I had to kind of look so intrinsic. There's a quote by Jackie Chan, I believe, know yourself to know others. And Bruce Lee. And for me, I just actually began to know myself to the point where I'm like, okay, well, logically, it feels better to be happy than sad. Mm-hmm. What I learned is inspiration is something that's pretty well accepted universal language. And so the heroic story, we all watch The Dark Knight. We all watch these movies and we feel personally ourselves in it. And I know this because I've played this so many times online and I get to see the results. Mm-hmm. And so I've basically had a live radio and I got to go from playing a song to then playing another one, watch 300 people leave. And so
Oh,
I've
God.
learned, what I learned is heavy metal rockers, they also love You Raise Me Up from Josh Groban. So it's funny to
Of
me.
all the songs.
Yes, yes. I go from Shine Down to You Raise Me Up, and it's what I've started to realize is we take music and it's with the cello, like for my concert specific, it's a healing experience,
Hmm.
and it's coming straight from the person who's doing it himself. For me, it's one of those where I'm creating something that is going to be very affirming. I think what happens is throughout our lives, we walk around, we see something, it's like that's a little off, but nothing happens.
Hmm.
And so moral conscience is easy to lose these days, especially with social media. What gets more views is something we disagree with. And this is why in history, when they did mass executions, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that here,
Yeah.
that's what 20,000 people would show up.
Yeah.
And
Sure. Hmm.
everybody would watch something they disagreed with. And so now we have social media. This is the same thing. Everyone's looking to find a way to, oh, they're getting canceled. What for? Oh, yeah. And what I've started to realize is there's another side of it. And I've been obsessed with the heroic story. I've always listened, when I quit baseball, I felt I was in a dark place. I would only listen to motivational videos, but the backing of the videos was all like Hans Zimmer, like epic soundtracks.
Yeah, sure.
And so then I'm like, oh, one day I was like, oh, can I play that on the cello? And I couldn't, but I started. And I started just matching it a little bit. And I started learning that like for my, I know I sidetracked, but for my concert, it's like my covers are personal to me. I am the listener, just as I wasn't a musician growing up. So for me, Piece by Piece, Kelly Clarkson, or Fix You from Coldplay, or all these songs that made me feel very emotional. I'm like, I can't be the only one in the world that feels these. And so my concert is going to be very validating because I'm working on a project with The Dark Knight right now. I recompose everything, I reconstruct everything, but to tell the actual story, like with Lion King, Hans Zimmer made that for the movie about the lion who lost Mufasa the dad, and he ended up making it about his life, him losing his dad. And and when Mufasa comes back in that video and he says, remember who you are. We see these things. Yes, it's in an animated movie. The principle of it is what we feel.
Yep, sure.
Like when you see the lion say, remember who you are to the other lion, but we encode that through our lens. And sometimes for me, I forgot who I was, but I'm slowly finding myself back to who I was in high school before, like a little bit more of optimistic. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And it's funny because I think, with family dynamics and everything, over time, we have to realize everybody has mental health. Everybody wants to be, positivity is a great thing. I think and I'm going to create a place. For me, my concert's not about me. It's about creating a group of awesome people to show up where there's no judgment. Everybody there just wants the betterment for everybody else, and just to be okay. And for me, I found as soon as I make those my intentions, that's how I create. That's how we all, for me, I create a really cool environment because it's that feeling of unity. I'm like, when I started not drinking, I got to a point where they gave me the greatest gift on earth, Tom. Drew, you have to do this for you. I'm like, wow, I would have loved hearing that maybe a few months ago. Because for me, more empathetic, what can I do this over here? And I realized doing it for me allowed me to be strong enough to help really do what I do for others, which is all I care about.
Yeah, being your true authentic self is the thing, for sure. So at your concerts, is it just you up there on stage doing your thing, plugged into the PA?
Yeah, me. This is cool. You ready? Me and a violinist named Brinley, and she played in the orchestra in a college orchestra. She quit the violin for 15 years, and she only played classically trained. Now she has her own original she's on like 7 or 8 originals, and she makes her own music on Spotify right here. Wow. And she'll be playing Hans Zimmer, epic crap, dude. She'll be playing amazing stuff, and for me, that's the inspiration. It's one thing when you see this thing that you can't relate to. It's another when it's like, wait, that was a successful violinist in college, quit for 15 years, had a family,
Mm-hmm.
did that life, and then comes back to it. And
Because she
not only
loves it.
comes back to it playing for fun, but playing boldly. And for me, that is what I'm so honored to play with her on stage, because that's everybody can see themselves in that. If they can relate a little bit to that. I used to do this. I hear a lot of everybody's like, oh, back in the day, a lot of back in the day stuff. And I'm like, the older generation, I'm 24. I'm like, I'm going to be your age someday, and I'm not going to be thinking like this. I'm going to be kicking. I'm going to be making songs. And for me, I want everybody to realize the clock's still ticking. There's still time. There's still things we can do.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
100% agree. So do you guys play together, or does she like open, and then you come on and and she comes on to join you during the show, that kind of thing? Or how's it work?
So she will be. I do a lot of the stuff. If I do some stuff with some crazy arpeggios or something that's very personal to me, an original that I made.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, for me, it was difficult finding my own identity with that too, because for me, music actually over time, I would love to make an orchestra of people who quit.
That's pretty
and
cool. I like that.
and I find music is something where it's like you'll see somebody tapping their foot over there when you're playing. It's like, oh, do you play the drums? Yeah, hop back there. It's a community thing, and so for me, over time, I want to have way more than just Brinley and the violinist. But like I will be, to answer your question. Sorry, sidetracked. I will be playing some stuff by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Then what I've learned though is there's a strength that she brings on stage. I've never played music with people. I'm not in a chamber quartet. So for me to be able to play music with someone and create, it's also a gift to me, because when you get, it's kind of like people jamming out on a riff at a guitar. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it's actually personally fun, and it's really cool to see people's reaction when they get to hear the pitch of the violin mixed with the cello. You don't hear a lot of violin cello duet. You hear
No, you don't.
piano cello,
Mm-hmm.
and the cello is the closest instrument frequency wise to the human voice. And
Oh,
so
I
the
did not know that.
violin adds that subtle, that emotion, that high pitched emotion that I'm starting to learn how to pull out of myself. After I do that, it's easier to play with emotion. And I need to just stop running from it,
Yeah, you
Tom.
got to lean into it.
Thank you. I feel so much strength hearing that from you, because I ran from, it's easier, it's getting easier, but I say that and I'll play it in a little bit and I'll still run from it. It's just hard. I'm learning.
I imagine there's a song that you probably want to perform this weekend, but maybe you're a little apprehensive of performing.
Yep.
Like that's a true barrier soul moment, or you feel like maybe it's just not ready. You should do it.
It's so funny. It's so funny, that vibe you're getting, because there's a song for me that it's the mental battle of what I've learned is I'll play. Anyone could tell if everybody's really good at reading things.
Mm-hmm.
You learn this when you're on a TikTok live and someone's like, he clearly looks upset today. And you start to find, for me, The Dark Knight. Oh, The Dark Knight is that song. And the problem for me is slowing down.
Not getting too excited.
And if I get anxious, I start bowing faster.
Oh, I see.
Secret's out. And for me, I started learning. It's like hard for me to do the soft, slow, subtle note to sit in that emotion.
Sure, because it's uncomfortable.
Dude, yeah. See, it's what? Okay, question. What is it? What about that makes you say it's because you're 100% right?
Because
yeah,
you mentioned that it's that long, slow.
yeah.
Well, so it's long and slow, and it's one of the most emotional parts of the song.
Yes,
So
it
you have to
is.
sit in it it's almost like being naked and having a spotlight right on you,
Right on you.
not for a split second, but for a full 30 seconds where you're just
I can't thank you enough for saying that, because that's exactly what it feels like. And it's cool when people say their gut feeling of whatever they need to say, like you just did. For me, I'm trying to put words to my feelings now. And that is exactly how I feel. And the thing I think dealing with shame for me is learning that there's strength in being able to do that, rather than what was I running from.
Mm-hmm.
And because I went to Hans Zimmer, I'm watching these violinists do it. When I see them do it so natural, I don't even think about what they might be feeling.
Yeah.
I just noted. I'm just through my lens. I'm like, wow, they play so elegantly. I love this.
Yeah,
So
and
I,
music is all about
yeah,
feel and touch and emotion and
yes,
everything else. So I imagine if you keep on the path that you're on and you really lean into those moments, those are going to be your favorite things to do in the future. You're going to get to those
yeah,
parts where you're just going to lay it right on thick because of what you learned from it, what you went through to feel
yeah,
the way you did, and now you're on the other side of it, still
yes,
sober for 500 days.
yeah.
You're gonna just play it just a little bit different than this weekend. But either way,
You
it's
get it, Tom. You
yeah.
get it. Wow.
I'm a little older than you, so I suppose I've
It,
lived a little bit more. I've done my fair share of grieving and
yeah.
darkness stuff, and on the
I
other
can't
side.
tell you how much I appreciate you saying these words because through my it's I rarely do I have that validation from that's those specific where you understand and you see forward. For me, I'm what I realized is today's I'm creating my past. There's people seeing videos I made 3 months ago for the first time today. So
Absolutely.
I know and you get it when you like right someone's going to see what you did a year ago for the first time today.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
That's the beauty of the internet too.
is it? Yeah.
Somebody that made something 10 years ago is seeing it for the first time today.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. And so
Yeah,
it's
and
like
so on and
I'm
so
creating
forth.
my past right now rather than I got to figure out what I need to be. It's like for me, I'm like I realized no matter how I feel about myself, my actions are how people feel about me.
And they
And
can
so yeah,
experience those actions when they see you, hear you perform this weekend up in Grays Lake, the 29th and 30th of March. Where can people learn a little bit more about you and get tickets to the show? Because I know there's a specific link that you want people to go to for the show. Because I was watching one of your videos and the secondary market was upcharging a lot. So where do you want people to go to
oh
buy
yeah.
tickets?
The if there's a etix.com,
Hmm.
if they go to in my link tree online for on any of my social media accounts, the link that I put up there is this direct link to the tickets. StubHub is I've never experienced anything like this. There's $600 ticket. So now I'm learning about StubHub because of what they're doing to me. So now in the future, it's not them. I don't. It's a third party. But there's so many websites that are selling my tickets, and for me, I'm not selling them personally. James Lumbar Center is,
Hmm.
and I guess I don't know how they're doing it, how it gets on StubHub because James Lumbar Center is only using etix. So it's very interesting how this works because I bought tickets off StubHub before, but I'm
Right.
like, after seeing what they're doing to me, everything's like 200% more.
Yeah. Yeah. That's unfortunately how it is on StubHub, and which is
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's
I
terrible.
knew that, but I didn't see that until now, and I feel so bad because for me, the truth, I will always play online for free. I've made everybody incredible group of people helping me. But the last thing I could think of is a single mom with kids that can't hear a cello because they can't afford the tickets. That actually destroys my entire purpose.
Well, hopefully they can hear this
They will
video.
hear this Saturday night at 7 p.m. and Sunday at 3 p.m.
Right, but hear this video to know to go to that link that you just set up
Yeah.
for
Oh,
them
yeah. The
too, as
importance.
well.
Please, if
Yeah.
they're watching, yes, do yourself a favor. Go to etix. $20 to $40, and there's discounts for veterans. And there's discounts. It's through CLC. They've got for me, it's ideally if I don't know if there was a way where I could get people who just couldn't afford that. It's
Mhm.
for me. If there was a way, pay me what you think I'm worth. Something like that. Just because I'm not playing, I'm not playing for the person who's famous, and I'm just like anybody else. And I think when somebody gets a lot of followers, people have an idea about that. And
Mhm.
for me, that is the furthest thing from the truth. And
Well, yeah, you want people to really, enjoy your music, and also people who can get something from your music,
yes,
some
yes,
joy, or, I mean, because music changes your mental health. There's
yes,
studies all day long about the benefits of music, live music,
yes.
everything in between. So I think all of us could do better about going to see live music,
I
certainly
would
when we
appreciate it
can.
if, yeah,
Yeah, I
I'd
know
be
you would.
honored.
So this weekend up in
Are you
Grays
gonna
Lake.
go? Are you coming?
You know what? I can't this weekend because I am
No
out of
worries.
town with my wife.
Oh, okay. That's
we're taking
fun.
a little post baby trip. We had
Oh, much needed, much needed.
yeah, our infant.
You said all you had to say,
Yeah, it's
brother.
our first weekend away is this weekend.
Well, congratulations. So you just had a child
In
recently?
November 27th. So this
How is that transition? I mean, it's something
well, it's my
that
third
like.
one. So
Oh, it's your third. Okay, so
third,
is
but
it easier?
first one in 12 years. So
Oh, interesting.
and it's our first one with this particular wife.
Okay,
So
understood. Understood.
yeah, different, but it's great.
It's everything
It's
is, and it's funny. Sorry for cutting you off.
it's like,
I've learned I've had it where people will call on my live stream saying, "Oh, who's your favorite?" Like people trying to get me to pick. What I'm learning is it's impossible. That's where the problem occurs. Every experience with every individual in this world is very unique, and so
mhm,
it's cool because I think what I've learned, especially in my healing process with family. Everybody has so much to offer individually,
yeah.
and I think when you people get categorized into, oh, just I'm this, I fill this role, we start losing who it is we are. And so it's cool because, like you said, first in 12 years, it's going to be a completely different experience.
Oh, it
And
already is. Yeah.
and nothing but good. That's it's a gift. So that's so cool to hear. Well, and
Yeah.
congrats on the trip. That'll be awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, yeah, but you know what? Good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
I hope you got a packed house for you, and
Thank you. You're
be br-
helping.
be brave and play that song that you're worried about
I'm
playing.
going to. I'm going to. And I'll remember your words. Seriously, it gives me strength. And it's so cool to feel, that it's rarely do I meet other baseball players that you get it. You get it. There's some tough days on the field
Absolutely.
and you're going through the motions and you have to hit that point of when is it enough?
Yeah, well, for
And
sure.
you have a lot of strength, my friend. Uh,
Eh,
you,
I'm trying every day.
Me too. We're in it together. All right.
Yeah, Drew,
We
thank you
are.
so much. I appreciate you taking time to chat with me.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we talk again sometime and hopefully I get to play for you in person sometime. I would seriously be honored.
Oh, that would be amazing.